Welcome to the second part of the history of China. I hope you like it. Period of combatant states, 475–221 B.C. The period of combatant states, which extended from 475 to 221 BC, was a period of intense conflicts and struggles for power in ancient China. During this time, various states fought with each other in a competition for control and supremacy. This period culminated in China's unification under the Qin dynasty. Here are a summary of the main events and characteristics of the period of combatant states. Main characteristics: political decentralization. After the decline of the Zhou dynasty, the central power was significantly weakened, giving rise to an era of political decentralization. Spring and Autumn Wars, 770–476 B.C. Feudal states fought in constant conflicts during this period, known as the Spring and Autumn Wars. Territorial confrontations and rivalries led to a fragmentation and disintegration of central power. Philosophies and thought. Various philosophies emerged in response to instability, such as Confucianism, Taoism, legalism, and other thought systems that sought solutions to restore order and stability. Military innovation era. There was an intensification in military innovation with the development of advanced tactics and strategies. The use of cavalry, infantry, and improved military weapons became more prominent. Ascent of military strategists. Prominent figures arose, such as Sun Tzu, author of The Art of War, a classical military treatise that influenced the military strategies of the time. Political instability. Constant competition for power led to political and social instability in most states, with frequent wars and leadership changes. Period of combatant kingdoms, 475–221 B.C. Intensified conflict. The final stage of the period of combatant states is known as the period of combatant kingdoms, an even more intensified conflict phase. Qin ascent. The state of Qin, under the leadership of Qin Shi Huang, emerged as a dominant power in the middle of chaos. Unification campaigns. Qin Shi Huang carried out a series of military campaigns known as the Unification Campaigns, defeating the other states and consolidating their domain. Unification of China, 221 BC. In 221 BC, Qin Shi Huang managed to unify all states under its control, establishing the Qin dynasty and ending the period of combatant states. Historical significance. China unification. China's unification under the Qin dynasty marked the end of a long period of conflicts and the creation of a unified empire. Transition to the Qin dynasty. Although the authoritarian government of Qin Shi Huang was brief, he laid the foundations for the dynasties that happened to him and left a lasting impact on Chinese history. Philosophical development. The period of combatant states was a crucial era for the development of various philosophies, many of which deeply influenced the culture and governance of China. Unification under the Qin dynasty, that took place between 221 and 206 BC. It was a significant period in Chinese history that marked the consolidation of multiple feudal states in a single unified empire. Next, a summary of this key period is presented. Context: decentralization and conflicts. After the decline of the Zhou dynasty, China experienced a period of political decentralization with multiple states in conflict with each other. Philosophies and war. During this time, various philosophies such as Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism arose in response to instability. The constant wars led to a state of chaos known as the period of combatant states. Ascent of Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang, Ying Zhen, who became Qin Shi Huang, mounted to the throne of the Qin state and sought to unify China under his domain. Military campaigns. Qin Shi Huang led a series of military campaigns known as the Unification Campaigns, gradually conquering neighboring states. Centralized control. Qin Shi Huang implemented centralizing policies, establishing a strong and unified government to control all aspects of life in the empire. Reforms and contributions. Standardization. Qin Shi Huang promoted the standardization of writing, currency, measures, and infrastructure to facilitate the administration of the empire. Great Chinese Wall. ordered the construction of the first sections of the Great Chinese Wall to defend the northern borders against invasions. Terracotta Army. Qin Shi Huang was buried with the famous Terracotta Army, a collection of statues of warriors and horses destined to protect their tomb in the beyond. Book burning and burial of intellectuals. In an attempt to consolidate thought and control information, Qin Shi Huang ordered the burning of books and the burial of many intellectuals. Legacy and challenges. Death of Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BC. In search of immortality, leaving his son as his successor. Collapse of the Qin dynasty. After his death, the Qin dynasty faced rebellions and disturbances. Liu Bang, a rebel leader, finally overthrew the Qin dynasty and established the Han dynasty in 206 BC. Historical significance. First unification of China. Unification under the Qin dynasty marked the first time that China was governed as a unified empire, laying the foundations for posterior imperial dynasties. Durable contributions. Although brief, the Qin dynasty left lasting contributions in terms of standardization and the first phases of the Great Chinese Wall. Ambivalent legacy. The authoritarian government and the draconian measures of Qin Shi Huang left an ambivalent legacy, with both admired and criticized aspects in Chinese history. Imperial dynasties, 206 BC to 1911, Han, 206 BC. 220 AD, the Han dynasty, which ruled China since 206 BC until the 220 AD. It is one of the most prominent periods in Chinese history, known for its stability, territorial expansion, cultural developments and technological advances. Next, there is a summary of the Han dynasty. Foundation and periods. Establishment by Liu Bang. The Han dynasty was founded by Liu Bang, a rebel leader who overthrew the Qin dynasty and established the Han dynasty in 206 BC. Han Western period, 206 BC to 9 AD. Liu Bang became the first emperor, Han Gaozu, and established the capital in Chang'an. His successor, Han Wudi, significantly expanded the territory and consolidated the central power. Xin period, 9 to 23 AD. Wang Mang usurped the throne, briefly establishing the Xin dynasty, but its radical reforms led to popular dissatisfaction and its fall in the 23 AD Han Oriental period, 25 to 220 AD. After the brief Xin dynasty, the Han dynasty was restored and continued until the 220 AD. Achievements and characteristics. Centralized government. The dynasty have maintained a centralized government, but with an emphasis on administrative decentralization to prevent abuse of power. Territorial expansion. Under the reign of Han Wudi, the empire expanded west, reaching the regions of Central Asia. The Silk Route was developed, facilitating trade and cultural exchange. Confucianism as an official philosophy. Confucianism became the official philosophy of the state, influencing administration and education. Technological advances. Notable advances in metallurgy were made, especially in the manufacture of paper, bronze and silk production. Agricultural reforms. Agricultural reforms were implemented to improve food production and the tax system. Government of meritorious officials. The dynasty has introduced the official selection system based on merit through exams, known as the imperial exam system. Decline and final. As time passed, the dynasty have experienced internal problems, such as corruption and the struggle for power. In the 220 AD, the dynasty was divided into Western and Oriental, marking its end. Historical importance. Golden Age. Han Dynasty is considered one of the golden times of Chinese history, known for their cultural achievements and political stability. Cultural legacy. Its influence on Chinese culture, government and society lasted over the centuries. The dynasty is considered a model to follow in terms of administration and government. Long-term developments. Many aspects of the dynasty have influenced later dynasties, establishing patterns and traditions in Chinese history. Three Kingdoms, 220 to 280. The era of the Three Kingdoms in China, which covered from 220 to 280 AD, was a period of tumult and military conflicts after the fall of the Han Dynasty. During this time, China was divided into three rival states: Wei, Shu and Wu, who fought for control and supremacy. Here is a summary of the dynasty of the Three Kingdoms: background and division, end of the Han Dynasty. The dynasty have collapsed in the 220 AD due to internal struggles, corruption and external challenges, which led to the creation of three rival states. Rival states: Wei Kingdom, governed by the Cao family in the north. Kingdom of Shu, ruled by the Lu family in the southwest. Wu Kingdom, governed by the Sun family in the southeast. Main figures and events: Cao Cao, Wei. Cao Cao emerged as a dominant figure, being the Wei leader. Known for his military skills, he tried to unify China under his control, but died before achieving it. Liu Bei, Shu Han. Liu Bei led the state of Shu Han and sought to restore Han Dynasty. He formed an alliance with Wu Sun Quan, but failed to maintain long-term cooperation. Sun Quan, Wu. Sun Quan ruled the Wu state and maintained a solid presence in the south. His alliance with Liu Bei crumbled after the Battle of the Cliffs Network. Battle of the Cliffs Network, 208 AD, one of the most famous and significant battles of the period, where the combined forces of Liu Bei and Sun Quan defeated Cao Cao in the Yangtze River. Death of Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang, 234 AD. Liu Bei died, and his talented strategist, Zhuge Liang, assumed a crucial role in Shu Han. Zhuge Liang led military expeditions to the north, but failed to unify China. Death of Cao Cao and continuation of the conflict. Cao Cao died in 220 AD, but the struggles continued between his successors and the other two kingdoms. Decline and unification. Sima Yan reforms. Sima Yan, from the Sima family, declared emperor and founded the Jin dynasty in the 265 AD. He began to consolidate power and eliminate the other states. Fall of Shu and Wu. Shu Han fell in 263 AD. After the conquest by Wei, Wu resisted longer, but was finally conquered by Jin in the 280 AD, marking the end of the era of the Three Kingdoms. Historical significance, literature and culture. The era of the Three Kingdoms is immortalized in the Chinese classical historical novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which has had a great influence on Chinese culture. Transition to the Jin dynasty. Unification under the Jin dynasty marked the end of a turbulent period and the beginning of a new phase in Chinese history. Sui, 581 to 618, and Tang, 618 to 907. Sui dynasty, 581 to 618. China unification. The Sui dynasty was founded by Yang Jian, known as Emperor Wen, who unified China after centuries of division during the period of the North and Southern dynasties. Yang Jian achievements. Emperor Wen implemented legal and government reforms to unify the administrative system. The construction of the Grand Canal began, an important transportation and trade that connected the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. Construction of the Great Wall. Although not as extensive as in other dynasties, the Sui dynasty contributed to the construction and restoration of the Great Chinese Wall. Decline and end. The construction of monumental projects and exhausting military campaigns led to dissatisfaction and decline. The dynasty ended with the murder of Yang Guang, the last Emperor Sui, marking the beginning of the Tang dynasty. Tang dynasty, 618 to 907. Golden Age. Tang dynasty is considered one of the golden times of Chinese history, known for its political stability, economic prosperity and cultural flowering. Foundation by Li Yuan. Li Yuan, known as Emperor Gazu, founded the Tang dynasty after overthrowing the Sui dynasty. Established an efficient and equitable government. Reform of the exam system. Tang dynasty strengthened the imperial exam system, giving scholars an ascent pathway based on merit and knowledge. Wu Zetian rule time. Wu Zetian became the only empress prevailing in China's history. During their government, arts and culture were promoted, and administrative reforms were made. Territorial expansion. Under Emperor Taizong, Tang dynasty experienced significant territorial expansion, reaching its peak. Economic and cultural growth. The Silk Route flourished, facilitating trade and cultural dissemination. Arts, poetry and book impression were promoted. Decline and disorders period. At the end of the 7th century, the dynasty experienced challenges, such as revolts and military conflicts with Tibetans and Uyghurs. The central government weakened, marking the beginning of the period of 5 dynasties and the 10 kingdoms. End of Tang dynasty. The Tang dynasty came to an end with the rebellion of An Lushan and the subsequent fragmentation of the empire. Historical significance. Culture and technological advances. Tang dynasty is known for its cultural splendor, with significant contributions to poetry, painting and ceramics. Technological advances, such as the invention of the printing press, also marked the time. Durable inheritance. The influence of Tang dynasty lasts in Chinese history, serving as a model for subsequent dynasties. Its cultural legacy remains an integral part of Chinese identity.